Hey, welcome back to my channel. So instead of doing a tutorial this week, we are doing a product review. I think it's like the holy grail concealer. The concealer and powder for me together have the best skin-like effect. No creasing, no kind of oil there. It's just the most natural yet radiant finish that I've been able to find. So without further ado, this concealer and powder are by McGrath. So here is the concealer and the setting powder. I bought them in a duo. I got the shade Deep in the setting powder, and in the concealer I have shade MD22. Now I'm wondering what took me so long to finally get my hands on this. So I'm just gonna demo how I apply my concealer and show you kind of how this works. I like to start with dabbing a few little dots around my face, and I feel like that gives me just the right amount of coverage. And if I need to add a little more, I can always go back in and add a couple more dots, but that way I don't have too much. I'm using a Sigma concealer blending brush. I think this brush gives a really nice soft focus finish to the concealer, and so that's what I'm going to use to blend this out. And I'm really just tapping it in, not really dragging the brush too much. You can already see just right here that there's a little bit of light, but it's not too much. It's like just the right amount. And if you like to be super highlighted, of course you could go in with a lighter shade, or you could use a little more, but I like to have more of like a natural highlight. So basically how my skin looks, but better. I mean, you can see just right in here that I probably don't even really need to set it. I'm going to, but just the finish on its own is really smooth and really, really realistic that you don't really need to do much to it. Under eye is always the test of whether a concealer is really great or not, because this is the area that is the toughest to get right, at least for me. I mean, look at that. Look at that. I mean, it's not, I don't know if there's anything better than this. I really don't. All right, I'm gonna go in with a little more just right in here. So I think I need just a tiny bit more coverage. You can see I'm not using a lot of this at all. This bottle has less than, I guess Shape Tape would be something good to compare it to, so since that's a really popular one. So it definitely has less product than you get, in a Shape Tape, but I think that I use less of this, so I think it would kind of balance out. I don't know why I make this face. It's like it just helps me get in that little crease area. Part 2 of this magic duo is the setting powder. I like to apply it with a Beauty Blender pocket blender and just dip my blender in there. This is really, really finely milled, so it comes up really easily with a powder puff. And I'm just gonna go ahead and tap that in. And I'm just applying this everywhere where I put the concealer. Again, this concealer on its own just lays really nicely, so you almost don't really need to set it. I like to set it just to lock it in and give it some more staying power. And you can see even with the powder on, it's not powdery, it's not cakey already. It's really just a really nice smooth finish. So I like to let it bake while I finish the rest of my face, so I'm gonna do that, and then I'll show you the final result after I sweep off that powder. Everything else is done now, so I'm just gonna sweep away the setting powder. And you can see on my chin and nose especially, it kind of melts into the makeup, so there isn't too much to sweep away, which is nice because it's not a super powdery layer on top of that concealer. And then under the eye, just a tiny bit is where you can see where it hasn't melted away, but it's really easy to sweep into the rest of your the rest of your face and blend out. I'm just gonna get really, really close so you can see this finish. And where I do have a tiny bit of creasing, so just right there, I'm just taking a pointed concealer brush to just kind of smooth it out just a little bit. But I mean, you can see it's not powdery at all. It's got a really, really skin-like finish. It's not super, super matte. It's not dewy either. It's just, I mean, it's really, I feel like as close to skin as you can kind of be. This concealer and powder duo are quickly becoming my favorite holy grail staple product. So I hope that you enjoyed this review. I think that the main thing that we learned is that Pat McGrath does not disappoint. And this concealer powder duo is like magic. So I've got new videos every single Friday. I hope to see you back here next Friday. Don't forget to like and subscribe.